Hi everyone, I'm back here at the Strawbell ADU project, and we have been getting ready for our first installation of the first level of our earthen floor or Adobe floor. So the last time I shot a video was when we had just gotten the walls and the roof up, and we did that so that we could protect the foundation and have it start to dry out because we were getting a lot of rain and stuff. So that's done, and since then we have been preparing for the earthen floor. So we installed a layer of vapor barrier plastic as our first layer here, and that will prevent any moisture from coming up from the ground and up into our earthen floor and into the house. And then on top of that was gravel, and on top of that was a compactable like road base of sand rock, and we had the foundation guy just bring that material in and actually drive his equipment inside the house to spread that all around for us. He still has to pour a concrete slab for our bathroom, which is all formed up and ready to go, and that's going to get poured tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. Meanwhile, we've been doing a lot of work just on the compaction of the subfloor, basically, for the earthen floor. So we've been getting it damp, spraying it down a little bit with just a hose to lightly dampen it, going through with a tamper, tamping the floor to make sure that it's nice and compact and firm everywhere, sometimes using our feet if we have to really just stomp on the ground. And it should be within 1.5 inches to 2 inches of our final height that we want ultimately. So I'm going to show you a few of the other details that we've done here in preparation for our floor. So I showed you last time, the concrete here is our grade beam concrete. This is 18 inches wide. This is where the straw bales will sit. We've added this 2x4, which is our toe-up plate. The straw bales will sit here and against the one on the outside edge. And outside of the grade beam, we will install a mineral wool insulation, and that'll get covered with metal flashing. But on the inside, I wanted to just beef up the insulation a little bit more too. So we actually cut 6-inch strips of mineral wool and installed that down here as the gravel and the earthen floor compaction base mix was going in. So there's 6 inches of mineral wool against the concrete inside as well. And we put a little bevel on the top of that so that the earthen floor can actually sort of blend over the top and go all the way over to the wall. And you can see here, this is the green plastic, vapor barrier plastic from Stego that we put down. It's 10 mil, and this is actually attached to the concrete here with a concrete glue that's made to like form an air barrier and keep the plastic attached to the concrete. And that way, like I said, it'll keep moisture from the ground from seeping up and into our floor. So we're going to have a bunch of volunteers and friends that come and help us to install that first Adobe floor lift. So we had to get ready and be prepared for that. So we had to do a few things for that. One of them being we had to make a sifter. So this here, we made this simple 2x4 box. It's just made out of 2x4s, and we attached a hardware cloth to it. This one is actually the size of, the holes are 1/2 inch, and this actually fits right over the top of this wheelbarrow here, and the point of that is so that we can sift the sand rock, which is what we're going to use as our aggregate in our Adobe floor mix. And we're sifting it down so that it is the rocks and the sand in it is at least, or at the most, 1/2 inch big, because we're making this lift so thick. It's going to be 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. So because it's so thick, we want our aggregate to be somewhat big, but not any bigger than 1/2 inch. So we're sifting down our sand rock to 1/2 inch so that we're ready to go when we start to install the floor. Our earthen floor will be made of this and a mixture of clay, and we're going to be adding wheat straw to it too. And the wheat straw just helps to really add more strength, tensile strength to it, prevents cracking. So between the sand and the straw and the clay acting as a binder, it's going to be a really hard and substantial floor surface. So the other really important thing that I had to do to be ready for our earthen floor lift was to make samples. I had never done any natural building projects in this particular area before, so I had to go around and source the right kind of materials that we were going to need to make the right consistency, the right mixture for our floor and for our plasters on the straw bale walls too. I'll do a more in-depth video on that process later, but I wanted to show you that we have made a couple of samples here and they're drying out right now. Just different versions of amounts of clay versus sand versus straw. And so I'm letting these, I've set them up in this sort of sample board, letting them dry out, and I'm looking at cracking and shrinkage and just sort of seeing which one performs better. I could also tell when I was mixing them which one felt better in my hands. I've done it enough times that I kind of know what feels right and what doesn't. But I'll go into more detail in another video on how to source material and how to make samples and stuff. But that's what I had to do here to make sure that we had the right consistency, the right mix of materials that will work for our earthen floor. Too much clay, too little clay, that's really important to figure out first before you get going. So we're getting the rest of our materials delivered today, our sand, our clay, our straw. We're doing just a few little site things to prepare, like making ramps so that we can get our wheelbarrows up and into the house. And then we're excited to get going, but we're gonna do it this weekend, and I'll try and take video of that so you can see the process. Thanks.